Well, hello there. So this is just an introduction, no talky today. I've just been putting some footage together of one of my favourite researchers, Etcherini, where he basically uses abiometrics and other sort of like things like facial landmarks, like how the patterns, the veins on the back of your hand are unique to each individual, and how your left and right ears aren't exactly the same, but you carry the same genetics from your parents. That's been passed on down the line through DNA, things like that. And just it's like facial expressions as well, just how your lips rest, your glabella, your fulcrum, just how the corners of your mouth rest, regardless of the plastic surgery or dental work you get done to your teeth, things like that. So this is just an introduction, talking about Etcherini, how he uncovers actors in what we call an actor-based reality, so public figures, things like that, politicians, you name it, are nothing but actors in an actor-based reality. How Father Coughlin became Hitler, Hitler became Walt Disney, and it turns out this real person was Kermit Roosevelt. And he shows you through e-biometrics, quoting some reference, telling you about a little bit of background about himself and his study and research in this field. And yeah, so this is just a quick introduction. Now we have to head into the main feature of Etcherini exposing the actors in the actor-based reality. Alright then, see you later.
There is written in the Constitution of the United States that Congress has the right to coin, issue, and regulate the value of money. That's good Americanism, and it's good enough for me. Every politician today in the Democratic or Republican ranks who sits upon one of the thrones of the mighty doesn't believe in that part of the Constitution. They don't want to believe in that part of the Constitution. They believe that the Federal Reserve Bank has the right to coin and regulate the value of money. They're not even Americans, these so-called Democrats and Republicans. And so, Mr. Roosevelt, who was very loquacious in 1933 about driving the money changers out of the temple, is now bent upon another policy. I think driving the workmen out of decent annual wages. As I come before you today, I wish to leave this thought with you, that in each congressional district here in Illinois, we will endorse a candidate who can rise above his party and puts patriotism first. My dear friends, that among other things in the National Union for Social Justice, we are Christian insofar as we believe in Christ's principle of love your neighbor as yourself, and with that principle, I challenge every Jew in this nation to tell me that he does not believe in it. Den alten, stolzen Waffenträger unseres Volkes, den ich bin, der traditionsgefestigte politische Führung der Partei treten, und dann werden diese beiden Einrichtungen gemeinsam den deutschen Menschen erziehen und festigen und auf ihren Schultern tragen, den deutschen Staat, das deutsche Reich. There is no need of communizing all the factories and the fields and the forests and the mines under a new kind of God made of flesh and blood and clay and hatred. When men become so prideful that they believe their destiny is to rewrite the eternal law of God, it's time for their fellow citizens to rise up in their wrath and through the agency of ballots and not bullets to relegate them to the pages of the past. Therefore, under your congressional district presidents, form your battalions, take up the shield of your defense, unsheathe the sword of your truth, and carry on in Illinois so that the communists, on the one hand, cannot scourge us, and that the modern capitalists, on the other, cannot plague us.
For those of you that are unfamiliar with my work, I've been a medical illustrator for 2 best-selling books on the Kennedy assassination, high treason, and the killing of a president. I've had training in the University of the Arts, and I've been an illustrator for many years. One of the things that I have been looking into in the past 10 years has been ear biometrics, and that by meaning a way of identifying individuals by using their ears as like a fingerprint. The research has shown that the shape and appearance of a human ear is unique to each individual and relatively unchanging during the entire lifetime of the adult. Therefore, the ear has been proposed for use in biometrics. In fact, the United States Immigration and Naturalization Service, the INS, has a form giving specifications for the photograph that indicates that the right ear should be visible. Now, the ears on your head are not the same as each other. They are unique to themselves, as you can see in this photograph. The use of computers to identify individuals is not a very good method when it comes to facial recognition or any other biometrics, because of the fact that people can mask the face, or there's different perspectives, views, camera angles, different obstructions, different things that throw off those type of computer automations. So the best way to do an evaluation is still the old-fashioned way, by human eye.
There are many different methods to do this, but depending upon the material that you have to work with will dictate sometimes which method you can use and which you can't. Fortunately for us, we have many photographs to pick from, since these people are involved in the entertainment business. So I feel the best way to demonstrate that they match is by taking the image and applying a grid to the photograph, and then where the intersecting parts meet the grid, we put a mark. Now, if you have 2 images, 2 photographs that are the same perspective, the same camera angle, this works really well. If you don't, then you do have to adjust the perspective, but fortunately for us, we have very good photographs.
That was Father Coughlin. He was a radio announcer back in the 1930s, probably the most popular radio broadcaster in history. At any particular time, he could be speaking to at least 1/3 of the entire population of the country. So his voice was heard by many. Now remember him, because we'll come back to him in a moment after we begin with this first ear analysis. First thing we've done is we've drawn a marker over the ear. Now, we've also marked off the areas on the ear where that ear intersects with that marker. Now remember, we're working with old black and white photography, so we're going to have a more of a dulled edge, so you won't be that exact, plus the non-studio settings of the other one that we're going to show in a minute. You'll see there's a slight difference, but nevertheless you can still see that the structure and everything will match the markers. Let's change the opacity. As you'll see the other ear underneath it. Become visible. You'll notice we're right on with the markings. This ear is a match. Now it's fortunate that we have good samples like this where they're in pretty much the same position and the camera point of view is pretty much the same. So who did these ears belong to? Well, we've
discussed this person before in another video of mine, and people were having a hard time understanding how this could be. But in this video, we're going to take it a step further, and we're going to find exactly who this person really is. You're going to be shocked. I guarantee it. So as you can see, they match. Not only do the ears match, but we have the teeth matching, and everything else matches. Now, you can argue if you want, but there's more evidence that has been kept from us that I'm about to show you that will make this absolutely 100% undeniable, as we're going to find out exactly who Hitler really is. All the images that you see in this video I will make available for download on Walloware 1, and you'll be able to do your own ear evaluations to verify my findings. So as I began researching for this video project, looking specifically at Hitler and the people around that era, I came across Father Coughlin that you saw in the beginning. Something about him struck me as familiar, and maybe this will clue you in to where I went to next.
The presidential election approaches. A Roman Catholic priest, for the first time in American history, is seriously involved in national politics.
That pose right there was the first one that caught my attention, with the wrist facing outward and the clenched fist. The next one that really caught my attention, you'll see in a moment.
God hates the hypocrite! And as long as you shall permit a little handful.
That one right there with the downward beating of the hands and the sharp motion, that caught my eye as well. Now, if you know anything about Hitler, you know the history about how he had his photographer, Hoffman, record him doing speeches beforehand so he could practice the hand moves and his gestures. So he had everything planned out when he did his speech. This hand gesture, both of those, reminded me completely of Hitler. And here's some comparisons to show you.
Father Charles Edward Coughlin today is far more than just a voluble voice over the radio.
Die Jugend ist uns verschrieben. Es lebe die nationalsozialistische Bewegung. Es lebe Deutschland. Zutun. Die höchste Verkörperung.
So when I saw those, I decided to compare Coughlin's ears and Hitler's ears together to do a comparison to see if what I suspected was true. And I'll let you decide. As you can see here, we have 3 ears to evaluate. First thing that we do when we do the evaluation is we draw a grid over the ear. The second thing we'll do is we will draw intersecting points where the ear crosses the lines. Now, as you can see, there's a shadow inside the ear here. You have to be very careful depending upon the light source, what direction it's coming from. Also, depending upon what film they're using and what the technology was at the time this photograph was taken, you're going to have conditions that will change the look of the edge. A softer edge in the more older photographs, a sharper edge in the more modern digital photographs. Now the shadows, you can see this shadow here is being cast from this edge of the ear. So the light source we know is coming from behind the photographer on the right hand side in the direction downward and across the ear. It's casting the shadow. So don't get confused with the shadow being an edge of the ear, because it's not. You can see that the edge is right inside here. Now we'll take this grid and we're going to duplicate it. Now we have 2 of them now. Same grid, same. Bring it over to this ear. position it, and you can see we match. The slight difference of the angle of the head throws this one off just slightly, but you can see everything else is a match, so we know that this is the same ear. Now we'll do it again for the third ear. Again, we have another match. We can see that the landmarks of the ear are consistent, so these ears are from the same person. Of these three ears, let's start with the middle one. That ear belongs to Father Coughlin. Now, the second ear belongs to Hitler. The third ear belongs to Kermit Roosevelt. Now, just wait. It gets a whole lot better than just that. Remember Kermit, because we're going to come back to him in a moment. But first I wanted to explain one of the photographs that I just used. The photograph of Father Coughlin. In the examination here, we flipped it. So the ear that you saw was not the right ear for the photograph, because you don't have the same ear on both sides. But what you do have are the landmarks of the ears stay the same, and the landmarks are the genetic markers that make up your ear. They will stay consistent throughout, so you can see the genetic traits passed down from individual father, son, or mother, daughter, and you can follow that trait. They stay with the bloodline. They change slightly, but the markers will still be there. So this is why we can see that the soft tissue area of the lobe has a small crease in it in Kermit's ear, but not in Father Coughlin's, because it's on the other side of his head. We can also see the lack of crease in the Hitler photograph because of the fact that that type of film used does not show the type of detail that was used in the film on Kermit. As we can see here, further evidence that Kermit Roosevelt was Hitler and Walt Disney, along with Father Coughlin. We can see the glabella, the part between the eyebrows, is consistent. Of course, we have the eyebrows, they are consistent as well. We can see the shape of the ear is consistent. This one's being pushed out by the glasses, but we can still see it's very consistent. The philtrum underneath the nose, the evidence is quite clear. I wanted to put together this brief video to review the find that I made on Hitler's house and Walt Disney's house. Now, this video is not going to go into the depth of the fact that Walt Disney was actually Adolf Hitler and ultimately was Kermit Roosevelt. You can find those facts in my other video. This video will cover just the home and a few small points about the surrounding evidence that supports it. So again, if you are unfamiliar with what we're speaking about, please watch my other videos where I go into the depth about the ear, biometrics, facial landmarks, handwriting analysis, and of course all the other supporting roles that individuals in Hollywood at that time played. Just a little bit of history on this find. When I was working on this for my other documentary, the original images that you see from the archives that claim to be, of course, Hitler's home, Disney played a little bit of an optical trick on you, and they do this a lot where they put the evidence right in front of you, but they change it enough where they can sit back and laugh at you as you don't realize what it is, but it's right in your face. There was always something about the image that gave me a gut feeling that there was just something wrong with it, and I couldn't figure it out until I was working on something else and realized that they had flipped the image, but not just flipped it vertically, they flipped it horizontally as well. So once you correct the image, you can overlay the homes on top of each other and find that they are a match. This is Hitler's home. Underneath it we have Walt Disney's home. We'll change the opacity on the top layer, and you will see the house matches even the driveway. They just modified the driveway at the end when they built his brother's house at the bottom here so they could share the end of the driveway. The street wasn't here at the time when it was the Hitler house. And there was no neighbors, of course, either. There was just a few back here. Those houses have been modified, they've been updated, and they're larger now. But we can see, as we scroll to Disney's home, same driveway, and we go back to Hitler's. We can see the slight changes to the house that they made. They've extended and made this larger here, and they shifted the pool as well as changed the shape of it from a rectangle to a nice curved edge. A little bit of a remodel. Give them some more room out here. Now right here is where the large stairs were that you see in the Hitler videos. They removed that and they changed the driveway so you could actually exit the house here, and this was the front of the house instead of over in here. This is the grand hall that you see, and these are some of the windows that are in it. As we see, the same windows are in Disney's home. This is a photograph from his recent sale of the home. It sold for $3.2 million. Same windows are still there. Now there's a rather interesting window that looks out towards the pool that they just released, and I didn't see this photograph before when I looked at the sale of the home. We can see that there is clearly a German crest on the window. Now remember that, because in my upcoming video you're going to see why that's so important and the ties that Hitler has, or Walt Disney, to royalty. We can see the curved shape of the pool. They've changed that, but we can still see the edge, this wall that is still here. And of course they've made the house much bigger now. So you can see clearly there's a row of trees. There's the indentation where they are. You can clearly see that the houses are the same. Now, that means that every official that you saw on those homemade videos by Hitler or Eva, whatever, every one of those officials that supposedly visited Hitler's home are fake. They are actors. We've identified several of them from the golden era of Hollywood. So keep this in mind when you look at the rest of the information, and know for a fact that Walt Disney played the role of Adolf Hitler. Now, like I said about Kermit Roosevelt, he joined the British military during World War II. Now, why would the son of a president, American president, join the British military? Well, there you go. The mountains that you see in the background, we're talking about Disney now, remember. It's not difficult for them to mask those in. That is a very simple procedure. Especially when you have a straight line edge like a wall, that makes it much easier to do. If you find the information in this video useful, please support Wellaware One. You can do so at the website. Remember, all the content that you see here is original content that comes from my investigations. You won't find this anywhere else on the web.
Adolf Eichmann was captured by Mossad operatives in Argentina and taken to Israel to face trial in an Israeli court on 15 criminal charges, including crimes against humanity and war crimes. He was found guilty and executed by hanging in 1962. He's the only person to have ever been executed by Israel on conviction by civilian court. That's the official story. But I'm here to tell you that that story is a lie. And what's written in our textbooks today that we consider fact is fiction. The information in this video is going to be an update to the Auschwitz Exposed video that I released a few months ago. The information that I released in that video was controversial, and many people had a hard time understanding and believing what I was saying because of the fact that the history books paint a picture of these individuals as a certain age when they are not, and they were lying in order to hide their identity. So once I found some additional information and verified some individuals that were in these photographs, you will see that it now proves what I was saying, and these individuals are who I say they are. This is Walter Krupinski. He was a German Luftwaffe fighter ace in World War II, and it was a senior West German Air Force fighter after the war. He was one of the highest scoring pilots, accredited with 197 victories in over 1,100 sorties. Krupinski was said to have died in 2000. Well, I'm telling you, he's still alive. He's friends with Michael Greenberg, who we see here in the photographs, him and Maurice Strong. Of course, Maurice Strong is Eichmann, and Maurice Greenberg, who is Michael's father, is Joseph Mengele. So we see all the friends getting together and meeting up in Switzerland, and also in Russia, where they are in this picture. Now you can see by the scar on Krupinski's arm that this is definitely him, and you can match it to the photographs back that are verified as him during the war. As you can see by his chin as well, he took it pretty hard when he crashed a few times. So this is definitely Krupinski. Plus I also was contacted by an historian who verified that this is indeed Krupinski. So we see him along with Maurice Strong and of course Michael Greenberg, which is Maurice Greenberg's son. Maurice Greenberg is Dr. Mengele. Now if you want to deny what I'm saying and try to say that Eichmann is not Maurice Strong, well then why would these individuals be meeting with Eichmann's sons? So do you believe me now? If you still want to believe what's written in the books, or the lies that they told so they could stay in hiding, well then, that's fine. I can't help you anymore, other than for those who do believe me and want to find these individuals and hold them accountable, well, you might want to start looking here. Now, as for Eichmann, who I believe is considered today Maurice Strong, as we see on the left a known photograph and accepted photograph of Maurice Strong, and the individual on the right, which comes from Vicki Greenberg's Picasso web album. So when we examine this image closer, we can see that he's had 2 cysts removed on his ears, so therefore it's changed the shape of his ear at the top of the lobe, but the rest of it's the same. He's also had a rhinoplasty done and taken the hump off of his nose, which you can see there's a dramatic difference, but the end of the nose is still the same. He's also had his chin resurfaced, and that's about it. Maybe a skin peel, but you can still see that the individual is the same, and that is Maurice Strong. Now, Maurice Strong is Eichmann, which is very easy to see because of the fact that pre-nose job and all the other work that he's had done, he looks exactly like he did back when he was wearing the Nazi uniform. Yasser Harel was the head of Mossad. He picked up Eichmann to take him back to Israel so he could stand trial and face his charges. I got a problem with that. You ever seen what Icer Harold looks like? I don't think you have, because if you did, you'd know that this story is bunk. Because here's Icer Harold. Icer Harold is Eichmann. So the scam, the fix was on from the beginning. This person didn't die, this person wasn't executed, it was a complete sham and a dog and pony show put on by Israel to let people think that they killed the person that is accused of these crimes against humanity. Now let me drop another bomb on you. Now I'm not a historian, but from what I've read so far and using my understanding of this family and the photographs that we have, I can put together a picture a little bit different than what the history books tell us. Now, Israel was founded after an attack that was launched on the hotel, the King David Hotel. In that hotel, there were British forces that were at the time trying to negotiate peace between the Israelis and the Palestinians. The Israelis considered them an occupying presence and wanted them out, so they blew the hotel up. The people that were involved in blowing the hotel up were a group called Irgun. It's the first terrorist group that we have basically that is documented. Now one of the lead individuals in that group that planted the bomb was none other than Icer. So you can see, as head of Mossad, a year later, that was his payback for him doing that job. Now, as rumor has it, today, Mossad is run by Michael Greenberg. This I cannot verify because it's difficult to pin these people down, and the information that is released in books and published is usually not correct, and it's usually there to throw you off, so they keep their identity hidden. So I hope this additional information has painted a much clearer picture of the power that Maurice Strong, Maurice Greenberg, and Michael Greenberg have in the community. Since they are the ones that are controlling this country and calling the shots, and are well respected because of their past and, of course, Michael with his present position, you see that they are the ones that are behind the majority of the problems that we're having because of the fact that they are sticking to that mentality of the Nazi, which is the National Socialist, and the Zionists mentality that created that Nazi party back in Germany during World War II. So socialism is on the menu. That's what they want. As I've said in the other videos, it's a sharing of the wealth for the little people, and that wealth is the scraps that the richest elite give us to share. There's no making everyone equal, as that is the ploy that they try to get you to accept the communist mentality. So keep this in mind while you're seeing these events transpire in front of your face, and remember who's behind it. The people that we thought are running our country are not who they say they are. The rumors and the theories that you've heard about the Nazis making their way back here through Project Paperclip are absolutely true. I've verified it, and now you're going to see the verification right now. Maurice Greenberg. Or so I thought. See, Maurice claims that his parents were killed in Auschwitz. This isn't true. See, Maurice isn't who he says he is. I want you to take a look at this person. Josef Mengele, the Angel of Death from Auschwitz. I'm not going to go into too much detail about him. You can read as much as you want about him in the other sites. You can see plenty of videos on him. But one thing I want you to realize, what they tell you about his death isn't true. Now correct me if I'm wrong. As I do this overlay over top of it, you can see similarities. Now remember, this photograph that you see of Greenberg that he has on his website is 10 years old. He's 96 now. He does this for a reason, so you can't find who he is, so you don't know what to look for. Let's take a closer look at Joseph. This is a shot of Maurice Greenberg with one of his sons. Notice his son didn't have his teeth fixed. He didn't have the facelift that Maurice has. Notice the facial features on his son. The photograph that you see to the left is Joseph. Look a lot alike, don't they? Now let's look even closer. Greenberg once had an argument with Ahmadinejad. Ahmadinejad made a comment about the Holocaust, and Greenberg said that his parents were killed there. He knows that the Holocaust existed. And Ahmadinejad asked him, well, how old are you? Because at that point, Maurice gave up his real age. The age that he tells everybody he is on his website and his bio is incorrect. Because right now he's 97, which makes him the right age for this. Now, what you've been told about the person Joseph Mengele's death is a lie, and I'm going to show you some other individuals that are associated with Greenberg here that are also war criminals. That Greenberg's son, Michael Greenberg, aka Dallas Green from the Giffords event, has been having meetings with. Here we see them in Singapore. We see Maurice Strong, Vicky's father, Michael's wife, and another individual standing on the left here. I want you to take a close look at that individual. Pay real close attention to him. Here's another little collage of them. See how he's sitting? Notice his chin, the scarring on his chin. Look familiar? We'll take a look at this. Now, although these faces are slightly off on the angle, you can clearly see the facial features are the same, the landmarks are the same, the ears are the same. Now let's take a close look at the ear. So now you have to realize these individuals, they're some of the most powerful individuals in this world. Maurice Strong, Maurice Greenberg, they're both CFR, Trilateral Commission, Bilderberg Group. They're both backed by David Rockefeller. Maurice Strong here, he is so powerful. If you look at the list of his associates, it just runs the who's who of industry, of who's who of every country, of presidents, Mikhail Gorbachev friends. I mean, he's just everybody's friend. He's been around forever. He's the guy that invented the carbon tax scheme, oil for food. He's calling the shots. He's a Nazi. And you realize that they're pretending to be Jewish? I wonder if their wives know. Or I wonder if their sons' wives know. Because they seem to be Jewish. Do they know that they've married Nazis? These guys have infiltrated into every aspect of our government. And they're making it look like the Jews are the neocons. The Jews are the ultranationalists. The Jews are the problem, when it's these guys who are fake Jews that are Nazis. Something needs to be seriously done and looked into when it comes to the CFR and Trilateral Commission. If the numbers of 50,000 Nazis is close to accurate, then I bet you there's a lot more in our government that have come over here through Project Paperclip with the intended purpose of undermining and destroying this country from within. And they're going to blame it on the Jews. Can you believe this? Unbelievable. Here's one more that's unbelievable. So what they've told you in the paper about these people being dead was a CIA front. When they were brought over here for Project Paperclip with the Bush family, they were set up with new identities. Some were given facelifts and plastic surgery, and they blended right on in. And they're still there today. They're still enacting their Nazi ways. They're causing the problem. If you like the information that you've heard in this presentation, please consider donating to wellaware1.com so we can continue to bring stories like this and others to the public.
I don't think politicians are natural crooks.
Not all of them.
No, I don't think most of them are. I think they are actors. And actors are neither men nor women. Actors belong to a third sex. Actors are actors, and one aspect of it is the political game. But that kind of acting is not lying, as long as it refers to and reflects and exalts the essential, commonly held ideals of a culture. Those performances are part of our culture, even though they are performances.
It's predetermined. It's scripted entertainment. We don't call it bleeding, we call it getting color. You're going to have your sharp edge, and you're going to hit, twist, and squeeze. It's going to open up your capillaries, and you're going to start bleeding, and it's just going to provide for a good look. Did that actually happen? Was it an accident, or was it part of the show? Well, I'm here to tell you it was part of the show. And here's the secret. It works because you rarely see it. It's not something you see on a nightly basis.
Actors belong to a third sex.
Nobody will hire you.
Oh, yeah? This is an inflection point. This is a moment in time that is requiring us each as individuals and collectively to look in a mirror and ask, who are we?
Who are you?
You almost understand, don't you, Bill? You're a different race from us, a different species, a different class. You're not one of us. You have to be born into society. Alien scum. No, we're not from outer space or anything like that. We have been here as long as you have. It's a matter of good breeding, really. Alien scum!
People for years have debated, did that really happen, or was it part of the show?
You see, Bill, it's like this. There's no business like show business.
Explosion.